live.
All right, good afternoon. It's 11 a.m. This is the regular meeting for Fire District 21. Call the meeting to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, I'm Bruce Ansel.
Sean Crawford.
Kimberly McMurray.
Matt Redberg.
Scott Fisher.
John Arnolds.
Jason Vanderveen.
Don Ward. Joel Nielsen.
All right, any public comment? All right, Volunteer Pension Board meeting, we have the approval of the April 20th meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve such?
So
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, it's unanimous, thank you. Is there any other business? Okay, we will move to adjourn the Volunteer Pension Board meeting. Or I will just adjourn it, how about at 11:02? And call the regular Board of Commissioners meeting to order. And the first item of business is the approval of the consent agenda. This includes the meeting minutes from April 20th, the staff reports, financial reports, voucher payroll and benefits, the total revenue for April. Taxes have come in, $2,653,737.08. The expenditures for May, $876,233.91. Direct deposit payroll was $408,743.99. Payroll taxes, $94,776.45. Benefits vouchers, $218,193.30. Monthly expenditure voucher, $132,997.58. Capital projects, $20,706.97, and capital projects apparatus, $815.62. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Are we, let me just look at one thing real quick, because I was just looking at your chief's report, but we do talk about District 4 and business. Anything you'd like to highlight from your chief's report? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, let me see if we get to it. We actually get to the overtime reimbursement question later in new business.
Okay.
This is one portion of it.
All right.
The other is just a brief recognition of Mark Wolrad for his years of service to North Whatcom. He does not want a lot of fanfare about his retirement, but he is due recognition. And I worked with Mark for several years on the same crew and would oftentimes leave with cheeks and belly aching from laughing so much. He's just a great guy. So he will be missed.
Very good. And we're going to address the power load issue.
Oh, yes, that is actually not a piece in here. Thank you for reminding me, sir. So we received some communication from the county, and the letter should be in the board packet, I believe. Due to what's called a Scribner's error, which I had to look up, they over reimbursed us for our power loads. That's the unit that draws the gurney into the back of the Yukon. Nobody on our end caught it. They did, not the EMS office. It sounds like the finance department caught it after they paid us. So they requested reimbursement. Checking with Benita, it's actually easier because it happened in the same calendar year, the same budget year. So we're just reallocating the $5,000 back to them which it is, when I looked at it, it is, they did overpay us. It was done in error. So we are not the only district. They made multiple mistakes. And so this is happening in other places this month. So
Do we know what caused that error?
I don't know exactly what caused that error. They accounted it to, they chalked it up to a Scrivener's error, which means an accounting error. Somewhere somebody transposed a number is what they're blaming it on. So.
I would say maybe they should have taken a little longer, but it was long enough as it was.
It seemed to go through a lot of checks and balances on its way out of the county. I was a little surprised that
Yeah.
there would be the error. And for my part, I've learned, I'll double check when we get things in like that. It needs to be, I can't rely on that to be correct. I need to double check.
All right, and
Lesson learned on both ends.
one last comment on your report was the GEMT audit and the amount of time and effort it's going to create for our staff. Your thoughts on
Yes.
that?
So there's a new, relatively new audit coming through GEMT. It comes through the feds. Another unfunded mandate, I'll call it. We just know we're going to be audited, and they've given us a very broad spectrum of things they're going to audit us for. And in talking with Kelly and with Jenny, who kind of do the tracking of the transports and the depositing of the funds, it's going to be a lot of work to drill down and get this data that they're looking for. We are working with the county EMS to build a report for this audit.
A little piece of it.
That will be a help though.
Oh, you bet,
Yeah.
yeah.
Jenny and Kelly have already looked at what we've been given by the Center for Medicare Studies, and we haven't got a lot of direction on exactly what they're looking for. But Jenny and Kelly are kind of casting a broad net and starting to gather the data already, and it's taken a lot of time. So I can tell that when we get to the actual audit piece, it's going to be pretty comprehensive.
Are they going to look at anything that we've previously been audited for by the state? This is totally
This is
different.
totally different.
Okay. So we collect this GEMT money. Would it be reasonable for us to at least think about somehow reimbursing our staff a little extra for the time and effort that they spend on this audit and billing it, or at least taking it out of that GEMT fund? Will that screw up your budget, or is that a reasonable?
I think that's a reasonable.
I mean, that money isn't totally earmarked, that this would be something that would throw us off if we said, holy cow, we've got all this extra workload.
We don't budget for the extra reimbursements like what this other check was.
Came in.
Yeah. So it would not throw everything off to do that. And there's other pieces that we don't know if we'll be able to use yet. For example, we don't do the GEMT calculations ourselves. We pay a firm to do that.
Right.
And so there's hope that we'll be able to draw some data out of that firm, but that's not what they do. And they've told us explicitly that nobody can help us with this audit. It has to be done in-house. We cannot offshore this. We cannot outsource this.
Is
It
this,
must be done by existing staff.
is this like a retro audit going back years, or are we talking about just a fiscal year?
We're collecting the data for this year.
Okay.
And then next year, we have some timeline of when we have to report it all.
Okay. And then,
So basically, what's been happening is that departments can submit for GEMT reimbursement. There's now firms that you can get to help you with the calculations and doing all you gather the data, they do the calculations, you sign it and it goes away and a check comes back. what this is doing is I believe this audit is coming in between. It wants to audit what we're sending out to this data collection firm. So it's going to be 1 year back of all the data we send out. But it's just different enough. The data they're looking for is just different enough that we can't use the same.
The data that they're looking for, do we have like a data point capture system somewhere in the software that we utilize that can,
For some of it, yes, a small portion.
and so you'll have to go back and reconstruct the data that they're looking for using other points of data to try to kind of extrapolate what they need? And what type of human hours are we talking about for something like this?
That's to be determined. Because we don't, they're giving us, they're giving us this they're casting a wide net and say further details will be forthcoming. Further details will be forthcoming. We keep getting emails about this, for those in the collection year, we'll be giving you, these are the things you should be looking for. Specifically what we want, we'll let you know later. We've reached out to another organization in the county that's about roughly our size, District 7. They're 1 year ahead of us, and they're more confused than we are.
That's encouraging.
It is, absolutely.
Okay.
It's federal government, Center for Medicare Studies. I don't know how to explain it. It's an evolving situation that we're going to have to deal
But
with.
there is a possibility though that the data point capture systems that we do have, it may not be as catastrophic as we think until we know exactly what they're looking for.
Until we know exactly what they're looking for. But even with the broad parameters they've given us, Jenny and Kelly have told me that what we already have isn't going to be enough. That there's a significant amount of, it's going to be almost data entry. So grabbing portions of a spreadsheet, grabbing data points from a spreadsheet, adding it to a new spreadsheet that the feds are looking for.
Thank you.
Does that make sense?
It does. I'm just thinking that more information would be needed to determine how funds are allocated, if they're needed yet or not. But,
Well, we continue to pile on more work and responsibilities to our limited staff.
yes,
And I know their contracts say and other duties as assigned, but there comes a point where I think it's unfair to expect them to just add all of this on to their daily routine and not say, is there going to be some overtime involved here, even though we have labor agreements, contracts with these people?
if it truly became this insurmountable pile of work, and it is ultimately a data entry and data extraction, could that be something we could hire temp people just to take that burden off of the internal employees that are already there?
It would be, we'd be better ahead to hire a temp or a part-time person to take away some of their lower level duties and allow Jenny and Kelly to focus on
Okay,
this because they know this transport data.
this is too work specific
Right?
already.
It's not, unless we were able to grab somebody from from transport billing or someone that had hospital administrative experience in billing Medicare. Otherwise, I think we have our experts already. They're in the data all the time. They know what exact data sheets we have on certain things and where to get data from. It's just the phones are ringing.
Yeah,
There's
so
emails to answer.
the last question I guess I would have before I'm done is, will this work allow you to do the rest of your job, or is it going to totally occupy what Jenny is having to focus on now?
And that remains to be seen.
Okay.
Let me get with Jenny and Kelly and see if I can if we can come up with a report or a white page for you.
I'm just thinking of ways not to burn our employees off.
Yeah.
Fair, not burn them out further or at an accelerated rate. Okay, thanks, Chief.
All right, any other discussion on the consent agenda? thank you for, I'm actually gonna add that topic to new business.
Okay.
This meeting, if there are no objections, just because I would like some direction from the board on this. All right, all in favor of the consent agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Move to commissioner meeting reports. Anything?
I did.
All right, what do you got?
I went to a FIT meeting back on the 4th. They have 22 candidates for the next year's semester through the Northwest Training Academy, and they'll be using District 4 drill gowns, I guess, on certain days. They are looking for an instructor. The instructor is going to be in class a couple days a week. I'll give Jenny the guy's information because he is looking to hire a couple of full-time firefighters to do the instructor part. They don't need a teacher's certificate, but they do need to be qualified in certain areas. So I'll give Jenny his contact information, and if anybody wants to contact him and see if it's a good fit, he'll work with schedules and things like that. There has been interest from a couple of Bellingham firefighters about that position already. I did go to an all-county meeting, not much discussed there. So,
This is the commissioners.
yeah, basically the East Side's doing a big recruit academy. They got like 32 volunteers for District 1, District 14. So they're all sitting kind of happy. We need to, at some point, sit down with Linden, District 5, and District 4 and just break bread, because I got to give a north-south report and kind of find out where everybody's at. And we haven't done that in I don't know how long. So I'll pick a date and send out some emails, and hopefully we can do that sometime over the summer months.
Okay. Thank you. Really?
I went to a couple of Blaine City Council meetings, and they had a blessing of the fleet and a sea memorial, and a lot of discussion, public comment on a new mobile home park that'll bring in 300 mobile homes, and also all their upcoming summer events and planning for that. And I want to thank everybody again who are able to volunteer for our partnering with the Red Cross to install smoke alarms. They want to do it again. That was their first campaign in Whatcom County, and they were very pleased with how the whole thing went, and they want to do it again. So.
Matt?
Yeah, just to second off what Kimberly said, the Red Cross event was fantastic. And it's rather startling to see how many people don't have any type of smoke alarms in their residences right now. So I believe that we should try to get the Red Cross back up here and do that event again as often as possible. So thank you, Kimberly, for arranging that.
My pleasure.
I went to the D4 meeting. I think several of us were there when they set their levy lift amount, and I think we'll discuss that under unfinished business. So, anything from the local?
Yes, they just wanted me to report to you that just this week's activity with several meetings with Commissioner Cooley about the levy lid lift and email received from Cascade Ambulance, but that let's see, it went well. We seem to be on the same page.
Very good. All right. Legal issues. Are we going to cover? Okay, that's under unfinished grant writing. There's nothing new, separate legal issues, correct?
No, sir. But I guess just for clarification, both the grant writing update and the overtime reimbursement, those were both, I worked with the attorney on both of those to get.
Right. But there's no new legal unfunded mandates that we have to deal with.
Well,
Yeah. All right, we'll move to unfinished business, starting off with District 4. And Chief, I know that you spent a great deal of time working the numbers and coming up with a maybe middle ground between the 84 cents and the $1.15. So what else do we have from D4?
Really the District 4 Board of Commissioners has elected to put a 99-cent levy rate ask on the ballot. It's been filed. They are proposition number 1. So they're the first first agency to file for a levy rate increase.
Okay.
I believe we'll be the only one, or they'll be the only one on the ballot. So that will make it pretty clear. At the meeting this week, there was some discussion about, at the District 4 meeting this week, there was some discussion about, how to Cascade Ambulance had reached out for engagement. There was some talk about how to get back with them. At what level did we discuss with them? Sounds like that's been, or I know that's been closed off by Commissioner Cooley, or that circle's been closed by Commissioner Cooley via email. He's told Cascade Ambulance that now's not the right time, but they appreciate the offer to give them a presentation. We're working on a outreach in June in District 4, so kind of a community outreach. Actually, Chief Aaron Holtz had a great idea yesterday about doing having BIMPs, right? Isn't that what they call them?
Yeah.
Whatcom.
Mountain Bike Association.
Yeah, Whatcom County Mountain Bike Association. Come in and do like a bike rodeo for
Okay.
the kids, and then have myself and maybe Commissioner Cooley there to answer questions for parents, have some pamphlets and some flyers about the levy lid lift, just to kind of get the word out. As well, the union is planning a July outreach, a pancake breakfast at Station 12, an old school, come have pancakes at the firehouse. But that's not going to kick off till, I believe, right before the ballots drop is when they're planning on doing that, the weekend before the ballots drop. We continue to move forward with working with the PR outreach person on the next mailer, the next update, and pumping things out through social media and press releases. So that's
Okay.
Seems like was there something else
Nope.
that I was supposed to remember?
No.
Sorry.
No, I was just, no. The lid lift rate was, I guess, the biggest concern that we as a board have, and looking for reassurance that the 99-cent amount will cover their contract, but also either allow them to take out a loan, or at least put money towards fixing the station and purchasing a new fire engine.
Yes, so thank you. That kind of narrows that, gives me some talking points. So what the 99-cent levy rate does is it allows them to make, let me go back. What we did was we calculated, I went and calculated what the personnel costs, the operational costs, administrative costs, and then District 4 administrative costs. So to wages, we just applied across the board 5% increase, which that's our contractual rate next year for wages, but we applied that to healthcare, all the things all the way across when we looked at total cost of compensation. We applied a 10% increase across the board in operational costs, so fuel, tires, the 25% that they pay the district. They applied the 5% in administration, so for Jenny, Kelly, Benita, and I, as well as a 8% increase in governmental costs. So things like attorney's fees, what we pay, what the District 4 commissioners. we have to pay their, their L&I, their Medicare, Medicaid, all those things. Applied an 8% increase to that. Additionally, looked at what all of the capital improvement projects that we have identified, that both District 21 and District 4 have identified. So the fire engine, the station, the tender, and the brush truck equal up to $2.5 million in capital expenses. So using the old interest rate, calculated what a $2.5 million councilmanic bond would cost, what that payment would be. So added all those together, and what it came out to is about so I can find the email here. It ended up sorry. So we projected expenses for District 4 to be $2.984 million. So essentially $3 million. All personnel costs, operational costs, District 4 administrative costs, and the capital needs bond payment, if they were to do a councilmanic bond. That total comes to $2.9 million. At the 99-cent levy rate, plus their EMS levy, total estimated tax revenue at 99 cents, if approved, would be $3.245 million. So it would give them a little extra to put into reserves, which, depending on how transports go, they could have to dip into reserves a little bit this year to make their fourth quarter payment. So, this levy rate, it's really a slim. They're not putting away money for a rainy day. They are essentially hand to mouth at the 99-cent levy rate. It gives them a tiny cushion. But this gets us closer to parity, which I know is that word has gotten thrown out a lot for 21 and 4. If we're on opposite, if we would have passed the levy in 2021, parity wouldn't even be a problem, but we didn't. And I've asked Commissioner Ansel not to run two levy rates at the same time. Actually, both board chairs, to not run two levies at the same time, one for each district. Trying to get it's too confusing. It's too hard. It's too much work. And so, but this gets us closer. Gets 21 and 4 closer, which gives both boards the opportunity to look at merger, consolidation, RFA, something different to put us together and have this whole District 4 question go away and have things be as they should. Should have been a long time. That is kind of maybe a long answer to what.
Well, thank you. I mean, basically, we knew that 84 cents was not viable.
No.
And we knew that $1.15 is almost twice what they're currently paying and might be a tough sell. It was interesting to hear the public, the few people that represented the, how many residents, 3,000 residents in that district. And there were, maybe we had 30 people total with all the meetings.
Yeah.
I think most of them kind of got the understanding that if they don't do something, that their service level will decline. How you get that message out to the rest of the public, I'm not sure, but anyway, 99 cents works. It gets them through maybe another contract year. I would say that we go year by year still. If it passes, we renew for another year. If it doesn't pass, then we've got some serious decisions to make.
And in that, we did have a discussion at the District 4 meeting about, we're calling it Plan B, if the levy doesn't pass. And I told them it may be wise to, if the levy does not pass, it may be wise for them to ask for an early out from North Whatcom. Like not stick with District 21 in Q4 to try to preserve as much of their money as they can, and ask to change the level of service almost immediately after the election. I don't know legally how we do that. That was just kind of an idea of mine on the fly that, but it would allow them to preserve a few $100,000 moving forward, and knowing that they're going to have a lot of hard decisions to make, and they're going to have to, build an admin and build something going forward. But that it may be advantageous to them to approach the District 21 board with, do we have to wait till December? If we already know what's going to happen, why wait?
Chief, you had said that if the 99-cent levy does pass, they still would have to dip into reserves to.
At the end of this year, they could, depending on how transports. They're relying on transport funds to make it through the end of the year. That's how I budgeted it.
So what is the state of their reserves right now?
They have $500,000 in reserves. They can make their fourth quarter payment.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not been in question.
Okay.
So.
All right, thank you. Sorry to jump the spot there.
Nope.
Grant writing update. Last meeting, we had a presentation from Commissioner McMurray about being compensated for the time and effort that she hopefully will be spending on helping us to try to secure some grants in the future. And of course, questions of, conflict of interest and legality and how much money can a commissioner make, and all that stuff came to mind, and the chief was directed to contact our legal representation, and in our packet is basically a response. It appears that it's doable, and I guess we would have to agree to enter into a contract. And I guess I'm just going to open it up for questions or concerns from the rest of the board. I'm happy with what we got back. I'll maybe just start with the chief. And you contacted Richard Davis's office. They wrote up this contract for services that addresses what would be done, how much money. Obviously, it looks like it can't exceed $1,500 in a calendar month. That would have to be something that the office and you would audit. You're certainly not allowed to vote on the issue. $15 an hour is like minimum wage. But anyway, Chief, is there anything else that came up during your interaction with legal?
No. So what Richard Davis used for guidelines for this is the Code of Ethics for Municipal Officers, which is RCW 42.33, which prohibits, an elected official from working for their own entity. with the exception being, like Commissioner Ansel said, unless they make less than $1,500 a month. So this contract that you have before you is written based on those parameters. The other ways that you could do this involve a myriad of policies, and it's pretty cumbersome. This is what he recommended as, doing the easiest and clearest way to be able to show the auditors that we're following the law. So this is the way that our legal representative recommended we go forward doing it. I think it's something that can very easily be audited quickly and easily every month. It will become very apparent to us if it's problematic. I don't anticipate that. All of us here are interested in transparency and doing the right thing for the district. And yeah, if Commissioner McMurray has offered to step up and get the education and learn how to do it, I think this is probably the fairest way to compensate her for her time.
John?
That was the only question I had, was the auditor question. That passes the sniff test with them. So I came in on the tail end of some commissioner bargaining, and I just didn't want to see that curl up and come back and bite us. So, but if it's okay with the auditor, I say that we go ahead and do it.
As long as the tracking mechanism for time spent is there, I think it's a remarkable bargain. And it's greatly appreciated. It's a resource we haven't really been able to utilize, and certainly can't find anything for less. So it's extremely generous.
We need 3 grants before the end of the year.
My only thing is just making sure that we have a good documentation of the time spent on what it was. So if it is audited, it passed every sniff test.
Absolutely.
And if there's an opportunity to include that compensation in the grant, right? Like you said, some of them are, that we could go back and either include that in the application. That way, if we were awarded something, would that then be able to be credited back?
Correct.
To the district?
Mhm.
So.
Thank you.
Scott, do you have any comments on the grant writing contract for services?
I think it's going okay right now. I just know that we need to have something in place to document the time, and I know that that's probably in there. I'm satisfied on how it's going right now.
Okay. So we would need a motion to approve the contract for services.
So moved.
Second.
And been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Kimberly, you're not allowed to vote on this, or you can abstain.
No worries.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so 4 in favor and 1 abstains. Excellent. Chief, thank you for putting this together. Kimberly, thank you for stepping up and getting the training and having the interest in doing this.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
All right, Birch Bay, Station 63. That was an interesting document to try to read.
So yes, I've reached out and asked for a contract. But before you can see in the correspondence what it would cost for the planning phase for phase 1. There's not much to say about it. It's numbers and what it would cost to do. It's what we need to have done to move forward with anything, really. And so what I would ask is that the board consider possibly a motion to give Commissioner Ansel or direct Commissioner Ansel and I to move forward with the contract when we get it from TCA.
And again, just for clarity, TCA is on our small works roster, and so this fits in with the legal requirements for us to look for architects and/or
Correct.
Yes.
people that do this work.
And the contract will be sent to Richard Davis prior to us signing it. So we'll have there'll be another layer of stopgap in there, yeah.
Okay,
And this covers us on the preliminary side of things. So this contract covers the phase one side of things. And then, when we get ready to go full hog on this, we'll do an RFP. And because that's going to be well over the small works roster limit. So we'll have to go to bid on it no matter what we do. So.
and am I to understand that these folks would sort of continue on through that process and oversee that? If we hired?
From my understanding, they're like really any big firm like that. They'll do the base work for everything, and then we go out for RFP, and then they'll provide the RFP and all the information required, plans and everything for a vendor that might want to put a proposal in. So, and they can also do the full gambit
They
as
can,
well.
they can do the full thing. They can be project management. They can do the full thing. They can.
Yeah, that was my question. Is that we just say, make this happen?
Yep.
The chief has a checkbook, he'll take care of it. Okay, what else did Where is this money coming from?
This would come from professional services budget that we have.
And this works, was this an anticipated?
It wasn't, but we put around $70,000 a year in professional services, whether that's something like this or, heaven forbid, a third-party investigator.
So are mitigation funds usable for something like this?
That is a question that I have asked, and I need to get back with there's an attorney at Schmelik, Sick and Davis that I need to speak to, so I don't have the answer on that exactly yet.
Because this seems, in my mind, to address growth that we're experiencing and increased need.
How much is in that fund right now?
340.
It was in our financials. I was looking at it. Financial balance.
$25,870.
Any questions or comments on this? This is one of those, we need to do something before the station just falls into the ground. And this entire process is up to 2.5 years, starting when we enter into the agreement. So it's not like it's going to be built tomorrow, but it's got to be built before we can come up with a bond funding mechanism and then start and be now 5 years down the road at least. So
My question is something we've discussed before, but just to come back around. What are we doing with Semiahmoo to move our 63 people in there?
That's part of what the assessment that they'll do is look at alternative. I'm the spot, or is it better to put, a
Portables?
module or, keep them in the bay.
Okay.
Kind of thing. So.
Okay.
I mean, at some point we have to tear the whole thing down. That means tents and trailers.
And a wrecking ball.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe remember when you used to do those fundraisers with the old cars, you bring
The
a
sledgehammer, yeah.
Maybe we could do that with the community.
Generally, that was with a fraternity. Yeah. No, Chief, I appreciate you getting the numbers. You know, it's not cheap. It is not cheap. I can't say it shocks my conscience. I wasn't anticipating there to be expenses with this. And I think the board is excited at least to have this before us and at least for consideration right now. But I do appreciate you getting on that and your team getting on that and, you know, bringing light to the vision that's, you know, before all of us right now. We're starting to see maybe not the light at the very end of the tunnel, but at least the tunnel's forming now. So we can start this process. So
And I know that the employees are eager to see us do something. You know, take a step in the right directions.
Tom, anything?
No, not really. We can't keep kicking the can down the road, so we need to move forward and do something. I think this is a step in the right direction.
All right, so the chief has asked that we move as a board to enter into at least a phase 1 contract with TCA. And are we talking these dollar amounts or are we?
If I may be so bold, amend that a little bit, that if the contract passes legal, that you would give the authority, if I'm the signer on it, that you would give me the authority, or that Commissioner Ansel and I could sign that contract so we can move forward and not have to wait for the next, for a whole cycle of a month.
Yeah, thanks. Word of wisdom.
Yeah. I was gonna have John sign it. Or Ward, I don't know.
And are these hard numbers then, that the board could say not to exceed this amount, or?
I would, with anything, these days, I would ask that maybe you,
10% wiggle room?
yeah, give me a 10% wiggle room. But, you know, not to exceed the next maybe $10,000, you know, above what everything adds up to.
Now, the consultant fee, although it says includes a 10%
10%,
TCA
yeah.
markup, and the civil engineering includes a 10% markup. So maybe 10%, it sounds like they're doing their due diligence, so whatever the board wants to agree on. This is 48, 58-ish. Do we want to say if it exceeds 65, then we would need to come back to the board? How about that? If this 10% is already included in the 10,000 of that.
Well,
So
what,
whether 10% is.
Chief, what would the unanticipated cost, like where could that come from?
I assume that this isn't, that they're not buying anything, they're not building anything.
Right, this is their time.
This should be their time, and they know their time, and they bid it, so I would assume this would be.
Well, based on an estimated 315 hours, I mean, if they get into it and realize that we've got to do archaeological digging before we can start anything.
Yeah, that would be an unanticipated consequence.
Anyway.
So my thoughts are with that amount of human labor time going into this, that we're safe signing the contract in the amount pending next month's review. If there's changes, you know, we could always come back at that time, but we're not going to exceed 300 hours within a month to address it.
Well, no, this is to enter into a contract to start that. So how much are they're going to charge us? Currently is this. I guess if they needed more, then we'd address that at a later date.
And the other piece is maybe, you know, wait and see. I don't have their contract yet, so wait and see what their contract says about overages, or, you know, are they going to let us know when they hit 316 hours, and then highlight that, your comments in the minutes, and we'll send that to Richard Davis so he knows, like, look, the board is specifically concerned about the what if.
So yeah, I'm very excited to start a process, but I'm not so excited that I want to sign something and have it all of a sudden saying, oh, we need to add this and this, and wind up being $30,000 more than what we anticipated.
I absolutely understand. That's why I think maybe, like I said, get the contract and send your comments to Richard Davis so that he knows what the board is concerned about overages.
Excited about the prospect, just conservative about potential.
All right.
I was gonna say, if it only takes them 250 hours, we get credit for phase 2.
There you go. Good.
That's a world we don't live in.
Good question. What if it takes less than 315 hours? Anyway, so the board, motion to approve entering into a contract with TCA to be reviewed by our legal counsel, and if it differs significantly from what we have presented here today, then it will come back to the board for further review.
What's the definition of significantly?
More than 10%.
I think that's reasonable.
Okay, so that's my motion.
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
And just so the board knows, any contract that I'm actually able to sign by myself, Commissioner Ansel and I have a hotline that works back and forth. I always double check, so.
Anyway, all right, thank you for getting that rolling. And, yeah, look forward to doing something there. Any other unfinished business? New business, we have a job description for lieutenant. We have a job description for a captain. Is this brand new, or it's just a refurbishing of what we've?
These are significantly modified enough that I would like to amend the action requested and put these in a 30-day review. I've submitted them to the union. I would actually ask that you not approve them today.
Okay,
I would like to have a labor management meeting before then. I'd
Okay.
also like, they've been reviewed by everybody that need to be reviewed by, with the exception of yourselves. But I just got them to the union, and it would be disingenuous for me to slam these through.
fair
You
enough.
think you're gonna face a pushback from that, or?
No, I don't. We worked with them in crafting it. It's just now that it's in its final form, I want to make sure that that they're not, what we did was we consolidated, we put it into a new format and we consolidated it. Our old job descriptions were page after page after page. And there was a lot of redundancy. And what really, I have to give credit to Kelly and Chief Aaronholtz, really worked on consolidating your duties, your knowledge, your skills, your abilities into only seeing it once in each document. So instead of multiple times. So,
Okay. So you would like us to at least review this more carefully and provide any feedback?
yes, sir.
And we can have the union that gives them 30 days to review, and then it can be an action item at the next meeting.
Yes, sir.
All right. So that will be unfinished business for next. And then we have an overtime reimbursement issue.
One of our labor leaders attended an educational conference, and while he was there, attended a class on the FLSA. They were going through this class. It was pointed out that in the FLSA, it clearly states that overtime calculations are done by the base rate plus any incentive pays or any special pays you get. We have not been doing that. We first folded in incentive pays such as longevity, educational incentive, and maybe like what would you call them, specialty pay for like SCBA techs in the last contract, which went live January 1 of 2020. So at that time, it was not known by either party that these are supposed to be included. The contract says that it's just the base rate times 1.5.
That's my question. So if we have a contract, it's superseded by the federal.
Yes, sir. And I asked Richard Davis, and even if we were to sign an MOU with the union that states all is forgiven and we'll move forward with this, an individual could still file with the is it the National Labor Relations Board, an individual claim for this.
I mean, we want to follow the law.
Correct.
And it's, you have a contract with specific language that then becomes superseded by federal law. Basically, is what's happened here.
So where this is, it's in the FLSA, it's in the 7K exemption for firefighters, and it's paragraph number 7. It's very deep in there, and I had to read it like 5 times before it started to make sense. And Mr. Davis broke it down Barney style for me, and still it took a few times of me reading it, but it very clearly states that anything you're compensated for on a regular basis is part of your overtime calculation. And we need to go back and make it right. So I don't have the total number. It's going to be a bit of a project for us to go back, and luckily it's simple. It's just
back 3 years.
we have to go back 3 years. Yes. I also asked Mr. Davis, how far are we responsible to go back? And he said 3 years is what you need to go back.
So this will impact retirees as well as existing.
Correct. Yep. So what we did was we took a recent retiree who was a high overtime earner, took Kevin Byrie, and we've looked at what it would cost to compensate someone at his level. And it's probably going to be, this is just for the high overtime earners, about $15,000 for our high overtime earners.
That's a lot of ducks.
So I will have better numbers for you next time. Some people, are going to get $30 checks. Some people are going to get rather large checks.
We're also anticipating, though, that this goes directly to pension, right?
It will be reported to the Department of Retirement Services. Could affect people's pensions. Probably not much, but yes, it will all be reported.
Average salary.
What's that?
It would tie into their high five or final
Which
average salary.
increases our liability for a very,
No.
Once they've retired, no, they're off the books.
so it can't be retroed into retirement?
It will be retroed into retirement, but it'll be the state's problem, not ours. We'll have to make a one-time adjustment.
Okay.
Yeah, the retirement benefits are run by the state. That
And-
doesn't impact us, except for our left one. We have one left one.
We have
member
one
that
left,
we're
but
still doing the-
he's not part of this.
Right, no, but as far as our personal liability for former employees ends with our last left one.
Okay.
person.
And where will the money come from?
That was like,
It'll have to come from the operations wages line, which we're short anyway. There would be money left in that line item at the end of the year anyway. But that's where it'll come from, is from wages. So I don't even want to anticipate what the impact might be, because it's going to be wrong. So,
All right, well,
but there will be more info. I will keep you up to date as we get more calculations done and get closer. We will work, once we get all the calculations done, we'll work with the union so that they can see our process and see it was transparent. I have notified the one retiree that this affects. They wanted to hear it through the grapevine or think that he was going to be cut out of it or anything like that. I reached out and contacted him and said, hey, this is happening, but it's going to take a bit for us to get it all calculated and dispersed.
so we've had more than one retiree in the last 3 years, but only one is impacted.
Only one that worked overtime.
Wow.
So
That's a shock.
the other two were unable due to medical reasons.
I see. Okay.
Thank you.
love to
We,
say
as
you're
a
welcome.
board, want to make sure that we're following the rules and people are getting paid fairly. So, the cost of doing business. Any other new business?
Do we have, can I ask one more question? Is there a time frame that we have to have that?
No.
completed
Starting next month, it will be, no, starting next month, it'll be 3 years. My estimation, I'll double check with Richard Davis, but it'd be 3 years from when we discovered the mistake, which would be. Probably rotate the clock back just for ease to April 1st. Just, it'll make it easier accounting that way. And we'll have to go back and make back payments for April and May, but it'll start, it's been fixed going forward from May 1st.
Are we accruing interest on that debt now?
Do we have to pay them interest?
If we're not reimbursing fast and we take 2 years, do we have to pay 2 years worth of back pay interest?
I will have to ask about that.
That's something with the interest rates right
I
now.
don't believe you do.
Okay.
My past life was never given interest for corrections in payroll mistakes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't think I've ever gotten interest on top of retro check,
No.
to lock
Mm-mm.
more than the contract term to come up with a contract. I don't think we ever got. So I'll double check just to make sure.
All right, so I asked to add the GMT audit item as another item of new business. And again, my biggest concern is piling on more workload to our already overworked staff. And I would just like to propose to the board for discussion that we could figure out a way to authorize the chief to fairly compensate the members that might have to be either working on this or consider hiring, as you suggested, a temporary help. And or, I mean, Benita is retiring
Sometime next year.
year, and we were talking about bringing a person in early to mentor and get up to speed. Is this something that would fit into a new finance person's get up to speed work? Just a thought.
I think that's a fantastic idea, actually.
Yeah. It's a great idea.
Serves extra function and then fills a needed role.
I mean, I'd hate
Two
to
birds.
hire a temp, let them go, and then bring in a new finance person and teach them everything that we were
Yeah.
trying to take care of. And I don't mean to burden you with that. I'm just spitballing here with ideas of different ways to skin this cat. But also with, in my opinion, the ability to use the GEMT funds to pay for the GEMT audit costs, right? Rather than let's take it out of operations or let's take it out of this or that. But this is money that was designed to help cover our expenses. And I think it's one of the expenses, just like it is hiring someone to have figured out those calculations for us. Just my,
I think it's fantastic. We already discussed the need to bring somebody in for the finance aspect of it, and this falls directly in line with that.
Jenny, does that seem reasonable to you?
Yeah, totally.
And I don't know how you make that work, Chief. I mean, we're asking you to, do all kinds of miracles here, but, John?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think that's a smart move.
My only question,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, is the money there to bring in that person at this time versus like 6 months prior
That's one of
to?
the pieces I wrote down. Let me
Sharpen your pencils.
If it's not, then I would go back to the temporary worker to help satisfy the smaller roles that Jenny's having to do, so Jenny can focus on the more important stuff. But I do like your ideas that as the top priority.
Fair enough?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other new business? Scott, any comments?
No,
Okay. Correspondence was in our packet. Did you bring ice cream in? You were like
No,
all
I-
over
no,
the
I didn't.
newspaper.
Totally didn't even think about that.
The article in the Cascadia, that was pretty cool. Thank you, Mr. Crawford. The only thing I didn't like about the D4 ballot measure was like the second paragraph hit that nice big 57% mark. That didn't do anybody any favors, but some nice thank you notes. Anyway, anything else correspondence-wise?
Sure.
All right, next meeting is June 15th. Let's see, you're driving school bus that day.
Last day of school.
Last day of school.
Kids get out early and they need to ride home.
All right. Scott, does that work for you? The June 15th?
yeah, I believe it does.
Matt?
Yes.
Kimberly?
Yes.
Okay. So we're all but
Short
one.
one, yep.
Agenda items for next meeting, I guess we'll keep D4 on there. Grant writing's done, we signed that. We'll have the Station 63 contract will be on, the job descriptions. And then I guess we should keep overtime reimbursement up on there as well. And then I don't know if you will have any thoughts on the GEMT audit
I'll
thing.
bring you a report on that.
Okay. All right. And executive session, we need an executive session?
No, sir, we don't. Nope,
Okay.
don't need one.
All right. So there were no need for an executive session. Is there any other business before the board? Hearing and seeing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. It's 12:09 PM. The meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone. We have to sign documents.
Commissioner Fisher, I'll be in contact with you.
Okay.